It was so much fun to bring. Oh, we're on. Sir Harold on to the yoga retreat.
Okay. I did just hear it through the app, and welcome to the Ripple Effect for November 2nd, with Dave and Erica. And we're kind of just winging it today. That's part of the fun of having a show is
We got a show.
we don't have any guests showing up. So we are going to have more guests in the future, but
Yes,
um
indeed.
Erica actually has a lot to report because she was out of town for, was it 10 days? You were out in Florida?
It's interesting that that's what you make up that was true. I was away for about 6 days, and I took a red eye, so it was really 5 days on the East Coast. I went to this. You want me to tell you about it now?
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's okay. Hi, David. It's so good to see you. Wide Angle Media, David Kirsten. And here we are on the ripple effect, which is all about the little things that add up to positive change in your life, the ripple effect, the little things that add up to bigger things that are all healthy and positive and kind and exciting. So I just came back from being at a conference and a yoga retreat. So it was really awesome. We were at this place called Zenden Yoga Retreat Center, which is in Boca Raton. And we had like a healthy morning and lunchtime regimen of green drink in the morning that you sip on. And then at lunchtime, we had a healthy smoothie shake. And that basically took care of 2 meals in the day, packed with goodness. And then I have the recipes if anybody wants them. And then just having like a healthy meal for dinner. And the recommendation was to have it, not too late at night, like 6 o'clock or earlier. And then we were also at this health conference that was so much fun. So we could bike. We were in close enough proximity that we were just a mile away from where the conference was being viewed with our team, and we could bicycle over there, which was totally cute in Boca Raton, and we could see the decorations for Halloween up on people's lawns, and it was just awesome. And it was really especially fun to bring someone who hasn't done a lot of yoga. We brought my friend Harold, and he has not done any official yoga classes before. So that was particularly cool. And it was really powerful. I just have been coming off of this swim meet. Yeah, David. So, like the weekend before or so was a swim meet where I was swimming in 3 days of competition. And then just to go and lengthen out my body and do this yoga was just so awesome. And it was interesting how sore I got from just this one. We did different kinds of yoga and meditation, but this one class in particular that I threw myself into, I just created this soreness that was like, wow, ooh, I didn't realize that I was that tight. And yes, I certainly was. So it was great.
Sounds good. I know when you do a different type of exercise, you can get a certain kind of extraordinary soreness, which I think's actually good. It shows how when we get into the same patterns, I need to actually shake up my workout routine a little bit by doing some more of those calisthenics or just different things that are kind of jumping around, higher impact, all that stuff's like great for your joints to, so you prevent from getting injured. So I'm ready for another workout shake up myself.
Yes. And speaking of shaking up, we just learned from my health company that we have a new shake powder coming out that is available for partners right now, and it'll be available for everybody mid-December. And it has, what's cool about it is it has 25 grams of protein. So it's super packed with goodness, whole food goodness. And all these athletes have been sharing about what they noticed because they had an early experience of it. So I think it's going to be good for everybody who's into working out and consider themselves athletes of all different kinds. And I'm excited to try it. It should be coming any day to my door. It's
Yeah.
really,
What flavor is it?
I think it's like a fruit flavor. it's called Perform. And you know, I could share with you some clips about that, but it's really interesting the results that different extreme athletes and Olympic athletes, Olympic hopeful athletes and Olympic athletes are experiencing. So I mean, for me, as a person who's swimming and playing ultimate frisbee and now and yoga, I love the yoga experience, David. How have you taken yoga classes at all yet?
Um, no, well, I've taken a couple just briefly, yeah, but I do like it. But I'm not like, I don't like having that many people like packed in there doing stuff. So I'd rather kind of do like a smaller group or learn to
Yeah.
do it like remotely, I think would be cool too.
Yeah,
Like
there are yoga
virtually. Yeah.
classes. There are classes happening remotely. At this particular yoga school that we were at, this retreat center, everyone had to be vaccinated and show their card, or they had to have a test from the day before. So everybody, it was a really interesting culture. You know, the people that were coming to this retreat were, some of them were yoga students coming for the yoga 200-hour teacher training, and some were coming to do a detox, and some were coming to do a very specific juice detox. So there was like three categories of people coming, and all ages, shapes and sizes and experience of yoga. So you know, I really hear what you're saying, that you don't like it when it's too packed up. What I liked about this retreat center is they on purpose do not pack in their rooms. And they had 4 students going through their yoga intensive, which is a 28-day 200-hour program. So it was really interesting to see those teachers coming through the end of the program, because we got there just when they were graduating, and it was just really lovely. It was a really good experience, David. So
Yeah, good to hear. I love how you're always doing all these new things. Kind of
yeah,
that
I'm
you're
a,
always like on to the next adventure. It's so fun to see.
that's what you think. Well, so I'm a long time yoga student. Like
Yeah.
I've been studying yoga since like maybe before you were born.
Okay. I knew you did it. I thought you were doing some other Zumba or some other variants of it too, but
I've done like 2 or 3 Zumba classes in my life.
okay.
So yeah, yeah. So yoga is wonderful because it's that supporting your body to have a different kind of experience than the usual yang kind of thing, like those building up the muscles and things that require all this strength. That's very yang. It's what I call yang. Yoga is very yin. So it's that stretching the muscles, and there's strength and tone in there. It's very interesting the complement it is to some of the other more typical exercise, you know, repetitive stress stuff. And um, I talked about that actually this past Saturday when I spoke at the summit. I talked about this idea of a slowdown of movement to really listen to your body, even slower than yoga or slower than the usuals, to just like feel the impulses and urges of the body and what it wants to do. So that's like, it's like primordial slow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I feel like that's an anecdote to what's a lot of what's wrong with our culture these days. It's really like a 24-hour cycle where we don't slow down and really kind of take things in. So that's one thing I really liked about yoga is the kind of reflectiveness of it, to where it's like training, it's like body and mind, and it's like training yourself to be a different way, not only like work out a certain way, but it's kind of like it's almost like a mindset as much as the exercise. And I do know what you mean by that. The okay, let's just go in and lift weights, like, and like, some people almost at the gym, they just love to just like throw weight up, and that's like why they're there. But it's not really, there's a lot more to kind of do with your body than just do that, so to speak. So
Yeah. Yeah. I really, it's really fun to see big guys like yourself, big guys who, they have certain things about how they do what they do for fitness. And then the kind of opening that you can witness in somebody who's never done yoga before, but has done all this other big strength stuff. It's so beautiful to see what occurs for people, for especially the big guys, with the big muscles, because it's so like, it's such a beginner mind, like where you could open up a jar no problem because of your strength. This is like, it requires a different kind of wisdom. So it's so wonderful to play with this. And I love the cross training aspect. So it's really interesting what is good for our bodies and what helps and what is creates the healing versus more injury. I find it really painful when I watch. I was somewhere where they were showing football, and it's just painful to watch those people. It's painful to watch what's happening, even though the rules are such that they're not allowed to like use their head, like their helmet, like a missile. They're not allowed to do some of the things that they used to be doing because of all the head traumas, head injuries. But still, there's just so much getting hurt and cracked, and it's amazing. I don't know how this sport just continues in this world. Football is just, it's painful to watch.
I hear you. It's a dangerous sport. Um,
Did
and
you
now,
ever?
do you have something coming up on Thursday you were mentioning?
Yes, yes, yes. And did you ever play football?
I played 1 year in high school and I kind of mangled my finger in a helmet, so I was injured most of the year, but I really stuck with springboard diving and I was also swimming during high school, not for the team. So I was mostly a diver doing diving year round. And so when you were talking about that yoga, I used to do a lot of stretching and like the key to diving is, you got to kind of imagine yourself as doing those dives and it's about kind of gracefulness too, but I do think there's a big benefit to do more than one sport. So like maybe diving or ballet or gymnastics and like football or rugby or whatever, so there's like, because you need in all those sports you need like both power and grace, and the kind of grace, if you have the power, will set you apart. If you only have the grace but not the power, that so I just think there's real kind of blending of different things that can really make you a lot better athlete. Yeah,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah. That cross that, yes, I think of it as cross training, cross
Mhm.
pollinating. Yeah, yeah.
So
That's
how you do yoga, but you also do the higher impact stuff. You don't only do yoga, and I think where we fall into the patterns is only sticking to one thing. Then we're really limiting ourselves. Like, okay, I'm only gonna run, or I'm only gonna do that.
Yeah, yeah. It's good for your body to have different kinds of exercise. And there's something that sort of occurs when I do yoga, and it occurs when I do my swimming. Yeah, it's sort of like this word called satori. Have you ever heard of that word? Satori?
No.
It means and I'm sorry for anybody who understands Japanese. It's something like empty mind. Satori is like you get to this place of like real, the sweet spot of not a lot of chatter in the mind, and it's very calm. So today I was swimming and I got to that place when I was doing these 200 yards. We're in a yard pool. And it was suddenly, I was just like, I could just feel the muscles doing what they had to do. And I was breathing effortlessly with my rhythm. And it was like a Satori kind of place. And that happens for me when I do yoga. It's like, I'm not like fetching in my head, how much longer? And all of a sudden it's like, I'm just doing the movements, and the movements are doing me. And I feel the opening in my body, and it's just very peaceful.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
Satori.
that's great. That's why I always love dancing too. That's how dancing would make me feel. And you always want to be able to find something like that that can give you that feeling of that. It's like being in the zone or this peace that from really liking what you're doing. And I it's interesting. The Japanese have a word for that. I know the English, they don't have a word for a lot of these really key things out there that other languages have.
I believe I took that
Curiously, it's also missing in our culture a lot of the
yeah.
time when we don't have a word for it too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I believe that that word, I'm taking it from the book, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. That's an old book from like the 60s. Dan Millman wrote this book and he talks about his kind of experience with this gas attendant. He had this like really interesting healing relationship with this gas attendant, what's appeared to be a gas attendant guy, an older guy. And it actually is a film called Peaceful Warrior. And Nick Nolte isn't it? I think it's him, Nick Nolte. Yeah. So it's a good movie. And it's also a really fun book. We had to read it in college for this holistic approach to wellness program I was in long, long, long time ago. And so that's where that Satori word comes from.
And I was going to ask you about how your Halloween was too, if you had any trick or treaters over there, what you were up to on Halloween.
I actually I got to go walk around in a neighborhood in Oakland where it's like off the hook Halloween time. And I believe it's called Crestwell it was on Thistle Glen Road here in Oakland. And I mean, every house was decked out. There are people doing all sorts of creative things on their lawns. And there's one guy who was sending candy down a chute, down his handrail. He had attached a chute so kids could just open up their bags and he was throwing the candy down the chute. And somebody had like a little mini haunted house where you basically walked up their very steep driveway, looked into the eyes of this person that they said, whatever you do, don't look into the eyes. And then you come around and you're done. And it was just awesome. It was fun. What did you guys do? What did you and your girls do?
Well, Elvira went to a party on Halloween. She dressed up and um in this yeah, it was but it was her birthday on Saturday night, so we had a little party over here for her, and then she went to a party that night. And then, I feel like we've really been celebrating Halloween all month with having the girls, because we went to buy their costumes, and Carrie was wearing a different costume around each week. But she actually made her costume from scratch,
Wow.
and it was like
Do you have
oh,
pictures?
Hello Kitty. It was like a homemade Hello Kitty costume. I do,
Can you
but
fit-
our street was, I mean, it was off the hook for our neighborhood. We got like record floods of trick or treaters this year. A lot of houses ran out of candy. So it was great to just see so many kids on our street. And it was crazy in terms of the kid. It wasn't anything like the Castro or some total like off the hook party scene, but it was fun for the kids because all the houses had candy. So we just went on our street, and I took Carrie to almost every house on our street, even the long driveways. And we went and said hi to the neighbors, and we got candy. So it was good. It was nice. Carrie's at that perfect age for Halloween to where she doesn't have to go like the whole neighborhood to drive her to other parts like I used to drive Elvira, but she'll get there, I'm sure, in a couple years. So yeah. So it was nice. Yeah. And what I don't know what else that was all I actually had on my agenda for you,
Um,
unless
well,
uh
yeah, it's so fun to see the creativity. I think this, as we're sliding into the darkness, we're sliding into the winter months, the darkest months. We're so lucky in the Bay Area, and there is a bit of like going into the darkness. So it's great to have the creativity and fun of, putting on costumes and putting on different personas and, that element of surprise and wonder, I think is really important right now. So,
yeah, I love seeing all the costumes on social media and all the Halloween parties. And yeah, it was a lot of great costumes. I've always loved Halloween. I used to have a party on Halloween, and always go down to LA too, like the week before or
oh
for
yeah.
Halloween too. So that's a fun place to it's funny in LA is actually probably more normal on Halloween than every other time of the year. It's almost kind of a freak show down there in a lot of ways. But I mean, you can get get good costumes on Melrose Avenue, and all those like thrift shops and things down there are kind of fun to shop at. So yeah. Um, but I haven't got down there in a few years on Halloween, although I'd love to get back. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I've been trick-or-treating with my nieces a couple years ago before the pandemic. I went trick-or-treating back in New York in the Westchester area, and it was really fun to see what they did over there. I got to wear a onesie, one of those, like, I was wearing an owl onesie, these onesie costumes with my nieces, and we
Okay.
traipsed around the neighborhood. It was really fun. You know, um, and today's also Dia de los Muertos, I believe, right? Do you know
I
about
don't know. Yeah. You
they've been
tell me.
they've been talking about Dia de los Muertos on the radio and the meaning of acknowledging ancestors. And I really enjoyed that film, Coco. Have you seen that one?
I've heard of it. I don't know if I've seen it. Yeah, I don't think I
Oh yeah,
have. I
it's
don't
so
know.
sweet. It's so sweet. And it does this, it's the story of acknowledging the ancestors. And it's just a beautiful story. So if you haven't seen it, I bet your girls will love it if you haven't seen it. So you asked me about what I have coming up. I have a radical self-care this Thursday, and it's going to be at 7 o'clock Pacific time. And people can, message me if they'd like to come. I'll get you the Zoom link. And it's a way for, I'm a therapist here in the Bay Area, and it's a way for a community to come together and be supported. And I always do something experiential and fun. And sometimes I have guests on, but this week it'll be the first Radical Zoom in a little while. So it'll be great to have people on. And I invited people to come on over from the summit this past weekend. That was a really sweet summit, David, and I feel inspired to have my own gosh darn summit too. So we should talk about that. It was a 2-hour, 3-day summit. So each day was 2 hours, and there were prizes, there was raffle, it was really good. 9 speakers spoke over the 3 days, and I was one of the speakers. And I love the community that created, like, of these really awesome women. Many of them are from Guess Who, Bing Bing, Katarina Rando's community. And it was just really, really positive connecting of this group of people. And then the recordings will go out, and people who didn't get to come to the summit will get to see it. So, and all the proceeds went to a nonprofit called Girls for Empowerment.com. So it's a girls' camp that happens up in Olympia, Washington. So it's real positive proceeds. And I feel like making summits happen is really a great way to go to bring people together, new people, and do this thing called speaking.
Yeah. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Um, Corey and I are actually looking at putting together something on for public speakers. More to come on that, but I think public speaking and more avenues for speakers is a good thing, especially in the world how we can all be influenced by just hearing different messages and connecting with people and the people that they actually bring together. Speakers, because people, you had all those speakers, and some people, most of those people come for one of those speakers. That's kind of why you come. So I think it's a nice format. And yeah, let's talk about that. I do actually want to put on some type of summit like that, as
Definitely.
well. I have this great new platform um, that I can show you. Yeah, on our work day well, maybe we talk about it before that, but let's talk about that.
Do
Yeah.
you want to share about how it's going with anything with your own process of health? Because I'm all about that. Or you want to save that for another time?
We can save that for another time. And that
Okay.
I did have a great experience at TNT Fitness yesterday. Liam was singing all these 80s songs, and I went in there. He plays, that's my trainer over at TNT Fitness, and they always let me pick my music. So I always pick 80s alternative because that's what I love to listen to in the morning. And he was singing all these songs, and he always asked me who the artist is, and he knows all of them. And I'm
Yeah.
like, did you
He
used to
knows
be a
everything. That's
DJ? Yeah.
That's what
but
it's about.
but no, I'm actually gonna be starting to do some new stuff in terms of my um implementing some new kind of cardio and fitness stuff into my program. I feel like it's gotten a little bit out of date. I mean, I've mostly been focused on the eating stuff, but I'm ready to kind of step up the other stuff. Usually when I start kind of a new eating program, I cut back a little bit on the working out because it's hard to do both at like 100% at one time,
Yeah.
especially
But
starting
giving
out,
your
so to
body
speak.
a chance to giving your body a chance to reorient. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Uh-huh.
mean, I've been real successful in the past. If you can, even if every, 5 days a week, if you can even do like a long walk. So now with this cooler weather, it's nice to do some hiking or walking in addition to just like, I do get burnout on just the weight stuff and the strength training. Yeah. So, yeah. But
Yeah. And I would love to hear you change the word stuff to what it really is. Like what is it? Because stuff, there's something that you really mean by it. So I want to hear what you're talking about. And it's important, these healthy lifestyle shifts and what works for you doesn't work for another person. And how do we ripple this out into our communities, to our families, our friends, our communities. That's my favorite thing.
yeah, I think the biggest challenge is, I'll do good for a while and then I'll need to eat some stuff that's like not on my program, so to speak. But I do like stay the same weight then, and then I go back to losing weight, and that's kind of where I'm at. So it's and I know if I combine a better, more interesting workout program, then I'll be kind of making more progress than just kind of gradually going along. So I don't know. I would love to get to something at some point where I'm doing kind of what Kyla does, but not to that level. I don't really, um, I don't know. But then again, that's like the pattern I've set for myself. If you really take yourself out of your comfort zone and you train for one of those events, I wouldn't help but really get closer to my goals faster. But it's a
Yeah,
pretty big
I would
commitment.
I
Yeah.
would like to propose that you are ready. You are there. You don't have to be a certain thing. That's Kyla's thing with Team Go Big. This is my triathlon coach. She has this, meme that, you are ready now to do that. You don't have to get to a certain place in your body. Like you're ready now and enjoy every step of the way. And I've really learned a lot from that. It's been so positive to play in the triathlon community. And it's also really been positive to play in the swim team community because it's all welcoming, all sizes, all shapes, all ages, all races. We had a 90 something year olds swimming in the swim meet, David. It was so cool. And they like acknowledged the 90-year-olds and they were breaking world records in the pool right there. And then we also had an Olympic hopeful going to trying to qualify for the next Olympics. And I think he missed it by 20th of a second. And he was doing this beautiful breaststroke. And it was just like, it was breathtaking, So it was breathtaking because of the multi-generational, multiracial, is everybody got to win. And that's how I feel about, saying yes to these steps. And yeah.
Well, good. Well, I think we're about ready to wrap up here. So we saved little tape here on Facebook, so to speak. But did you have any closing things you want to say or preview for the next few weeks before we take our winter break? About
I want to go to a yoga class with you, David Kirsten. Let's do it.
okay, I'll go. I'll
And I want
go.
to go for a walk with you too. So let's get that in.
Okay,
Okay.
let's do some hike. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
take a
yeah,
little
let's do
hike again. Yeah.
that.
Okay.
That'd be great. It's always great to come on the Ripple Effect. I really appreciate you and all you do. And I look forward to when I see you next.
Okay, sounds good. Me too. Well, we'll sign off on the ripple effect and with Dave and Erica. Thanks, everyone.